Andrew Corderas.
Adam Schoenfeld.
Welcome to The Scoop, brought to you by Full Tilt Poker. And the word great player, or the term great player, is thrown around very loosely.
Mainly by you.
Yeah, perhaps. Guys win a document and they're proclaimed as great players. Today
Right.
we have a legitimate great player, Layne Flack, who has won the big tournaments against the big players consistently, and
He's
feared.
He's actually feared.
Legitimately feared, and he's also just a very interesting person who's gone through all the ups and downs of a professional gambler and poker player, and he's going to be a fantastic guest, I think. Looking forward to talking to him.
So, Layne, you're coming off an ATV accident?
I've been on a tour for like a month. You know, I went up, seen my daughter, I come back, landed in Vegas like at 10 o'clock at night. 8 in the morning, we went to Mexico for the New Year's. I found myself in a Mexican hospital. It's not the place you want to be, I promise you. So we're out on this tour, and I hit this jump like 10 feet in the air, and I crash, and I flip, yada, yada, yada. They haul me away on a stretcher, take me in the ambulance, take me to one hospital, rolling me in, and I'm just in pain, just excruciating pain.
And after the accident, you were knocked out.
Yeah, in 15 minutes, I was out cold. Nobody wanted to move me. I was convulsions. You know, I messed up this hand. This whole arm was black and blue. They thought it was, you know, broke. Muscle contusions down here, fracturing of the foot. I must have jammed everything on this side. Flipped over and landed on my head. I was wearing a helmet though, so I rolled. And so they haul me out. I have to drive a ways out because they can't get to us. And then I black out and fall off the bike.
So with a concussion, you had to drive your own ATV, and now you fall off again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the usual protocol.
Is that the recommended? Yeah.
They couldn't reach anybody to get us out of there. So you know how when you're in a lot of pain, you try to get in a position that doesn't hurt as much? Mm-hmm. Well, the actual position was almost the fetal position. That would be the best way to drive. Yeah. So I'm driving like this. Until boom, done. So they take me to this hospital. You know, the stretcher. They got me all stabilized, all strapped in like one of those surfboards on the back of the ATV. You know, they got to haul me another couple mile or something. It felt like forever. Now they take me to this hospital. I'm in there like 20 minutes, and they don't put the brakes. Now this is real funny. They don't put the brakes on what do you call the gurney or thing?
Yeah,
whatever.
they don't lock it.
So they all walk away, and I'm hooked up to this IV that's back here. My gurney starts to roll away.
Right. It's like a comedy film.
And I'm, hello. I'm reaching back now with this hand trying to grab the thing so it rolls with me. So it rolls down, they come in, they stop me and put it back. Now they go, first thing they ask is, how do you intend on paying? I says, I'll just pay you with, you know, like, that's all they really care about. They go, okay, fine, our x-ray machine don't work, we have to take you to another hospital. Nice. Take me to another hospital, they do all the x-rays, and they bring me back. And it ends up, I only have all these muscle contusions and, you know, I was in a neck brace for a little while.
The good news is you're not paralyzed, because those ATVs are super dangerous in that regard.
I'm lucky in this area. I've been, you know, obviously how I operate in life, and I've been in a lot of accidents, so I know how to do the tuck and roll.
Yeah, but this is really a 10-foot jump. I mean, this is another level.
I was literally coming down, and I had time to think, what did you get yourself into this time? And just see my face going straight down. But I think my arm jammed enough to save me to bounce back up, and then when it flipped, I flipped over that way. But
you were not impaired. I mean, that's the first thing people are going to say. Well, you know, you were driving ATV and you were impaired. It's just dangerous.
Yeah.
No matter how alert you are.
Now our tour guide, he looks up and he goes, I told you guys to take it slow. My buddies look at him and go, that is slow for Layne.
But you were intending to do this jump, or it just snuck up on you and suddenly you're facing a 10-foot?
No, we stopped and he explained to us, okay, we're going to try some jumps now, and don't take the first one too fast.
Since you guys had a full half hour's experience doing this, so it seemed like time for the next level.
But Layne's one of these guys who's good at a lot of things. You're good at a lot of things. You know, you can win a lot of prop bets because you're good at stuff. Yeah, so you probably are very confident and probably a little overconfident on the ATV.
Well, I mean, I've ridden motorcycles, I've ridden ATVs, I ride the jet skis, and you know, you can go pretty fast. What I wasn't aware of is how steep it was straight up, and I didn't know how heavy like this four-wheeler was because we were going across the sand dunes that hit, and it's barely getting any air. So you figure I mean, I didn't hit no more than second or third gear, I don't think.
Well, thank goodness you're in one piece.
So from there, I fly to L.A., to Charlotte, to the Bahamas. And I don't know if I should say this. I hop over to Cuba for 3 days.
Just for fun, not for poker.
I went over with a buddy. We go over for 1 day. So we take a pair of shorts and a t-shirt, no luggage, no anything. We take not a lot of money. We come back 3 days later. We're renting rooms out of people's houses. They're feeding us.
Right.
Oh, but we didn't have a return flight because they said it was all booked up from Friday till the next Friday. But we risked it. We said we'd just go back to the airport and, send our way back on. But 3 days later, we came back.
Did you see those old-time cars they have there?
Oh, you don't even. I got video.
It's
I mean, we went down to Old Town Havana. There was not a car newer than 1959,
right.
obviously.
That's cool.
Except for they must have had some sort of year where they brought in like 50,000 1971 Datsuns or something, because
they got the
those
same
little things are, yeah,
B210.
it's only those cars or something 1959 and older.
Or
Diego,
the big
you-
ones with the fins
You were in Havana on New Year's 1959, I believe.
coming down from the hills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an adventure.
We did get us a driver from this 1957 pink and white convertible Ford Fairlane. It stalled on us. In fact, it wouldn't. The radio and the lights couldn't be on at the same time, or it would die. Had him touring us around Havana.
That's fantastic.
No.
Yeah, it was good.
I want to switch gears. Diego claims that he is the one who named you back-to-back Flack.
He may have been. A lot of people have a misconception.
By the way, I do believe it. I say he claims, but
Well,
I
the reason we're
Helmuth also at the same time.
Phil cannot come up with an
The,
original coinage.
when I
Right.
popularized it, I was doing the announcing at a final table, and Layne won, and when you won,
Which one was it?
must have been the second.
See, I'll
one.
label the claim to fame here.
I think it was the one where it was a pretty strong final table. There was you, and there was TJ, and there were a few other.
Oh, I remember you doing it. That was at the World Series.
Well, yeah,
Of course.
the
It's
World
me,
Series.
TJ Helmuth.
Right, and you just won, so you won the second. You just won one the week before, and then you won this one. And the microphone, I said, Layne, when you won the final hand, I said, Layne Flack wins. We can now call him back-to-back Layne Flack.
Oh, I
now,
think-
obviously, it's an obvious thing, so somebody else could have said
Right.
it independently. But
Well,
I
yeah.
said on the microphone to the whole room, back-to-back Layne Flack.
Yeah, you didn't coin it
And then
then.
somehow, yeah, probably not.
You see, because in '99 or 2000, I won back-to-back events at the Legends.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I won the limit hold'em shootout and then the 7 stud the next day. You remember when they were only like 1 day tournaments?
Sure.
I won the limit hold'em shootout the first day and the 7 stud the next day, and the next day I made the final table in the no limit, and I could have won that one
So
too.
you were back-to-back.
So you've always had this back-to-back tendency, because in 2002 you won 2 bracelets, 2003 you won 2 bracelets,
Yeah.
right?
Well, 2002 I won back-to-back no limits, so that was like 5 days
Yeah.
apart. It was the no limit.
Maybe it was that one that I'm.
Yeah, that is
thinking
that.
about.
That is.
And now in 2003, I won back-to-back days tournaments. Well, I won this day, and then the next day I didn't play because I was obviously at the final table.
Right.
And then the next
very
day,
next tournament you played, you won
Yeah.
at the World Series.
and this is ironic. This is really not ironic, but I actually won those 2 before I even went to bed. I didn't go to bed before I won the next
It was a
event.
nonstop for you.
No,
It was
you're
like
right.
one
It's not
big-
ironic.
like
That
one
would be
big
expected
tournament.
in those days
Yeah.
that you wouldn't sleep in any 3-day
There'd be
period.
a one long tournament for you.
Yes.
So you win back to back essentially in 2002, 2003 really back to back, and now 5 years pass and you won another bracelet, 2008 Pot Limit Omaha. We know that in poker there's a lot of
But
variance.
he bought that one because it's Rebuys.
Well, we're gonna get to that issue too.
I'm gonna have fun with this one.
Maybe we should get right into that. They're talking now about not having any rebuy tournaments next year. It's been controversial in the sense that
They've
people feel
always
that
had
they're at a
rebuys.
disadvantage in rebuy tournaments because people who aren't willing to do a ton of rebuys or who aren't at a table where there are a ton of rebuys are at a big disadvantage. You won your bracelet in the rebuy tournaments. I think Daniel, and this is ironic,
Won one of
Daniel,
his.
who won a $1,000 rebuy tournament where he made something like 30 or 40 rebuys. I mean,
And that's what he
that-
always does.
where he had the most rebuys in the tournament, he had to finish like in the top 3 or 4 to break even. And by doing a lot of rebuys, everybody at his table was compelled to do a lot of
Right.
rebuys to keep up with him. He's actually come out strongly as a anti-rebuy. person, saying that they're
I
We've had
discussed that with
rebuys for
him
a
too.
long
He-
time.
It's
So what's your position on this?
Well, in what regard? Like,
Should there be bracelet events that are
at the
rebuys?
World Series?
absolutely. They create the biggest fields, or some of the biggest prize pools, and they give a person that doesn't take a lot of rebuys an opportunity to win. I mean, if you go play $1,000 event, you're not going to win a $700,000-$800,000 first place tournament. So it does give them an opportunity to do that. Now the critics are saying, you know, you're buying the bracelet or whatever. But I'll tell you this: no matter what, how long does a tournament take? 28, 29, 30 rounds? You rebuy for the first 3 rounds.
Right.
You think another day and a half of playing poker?
I disagree with every criticism of the rebuy tournament. You can't buy the tournament. As you said, there's a lot of play after the rebuys are over. Everyone goes in knowing it's a rebuy, so if you're not bankrolled for it or you don't feel like you want to take rebuys, don't play. Or if you want to take a shot, and people have won rebuys on one bullet.
The one thing the rebuy tournament
Many
does
times.
is it lets you choose how much you want to go in. In other words, if you want to go in for $1,500, you're in $1,500. If you want to take 7 shots at it, be in for $10,500, and have more of a chance, obviously, you can take that route. So it really does give you.
I know 4 or 5 years ago they used to have the deuce to 7, 5,000 buy-in with rebuys, and I think they still have it.
I still have that.
And Lyle Berman was one of the guys who rebought the most, and you know, people were like, he can't win a World Series. Oh, except for maybe this one because they could continue to rebuy. And I think Jennifer Harmon beat him heads up.
Yeah.
But I also know this.
And I don't think she rebought at all, or maybe
Right.
once or whatever.
Or minimal. I do know this. I rebought like 21 or 2 times.
That's all, not 30.
Right.
Right, it's not like you rebought 30 times.
Yes. I mean, I had to take 13th place just to break even.
Right.
I mean, if you want to go take that risk, go ahead. But if you don't rebuy at all, and you win a bracelet, I have to do that 22 times to break even to what you just did.
Right.
You know, it's a different kind of tournament, which adds an interest
strategy,
factor.
yeah.
Right. There's a strategy to it. You know, this homogenization, you know, I don't want every tournament to be a straight no-limit hold'em tournament, and those are the only bracelets. They give out 55 bracelets. Having a few rebuys is okay.
I mean, everyone has a different strategy. I agree. I mean, I sat in the 10th seat. Ivy was to my right. There was this, why can't I think of his name? French guy to my left. And it was a full-on rebuy session. We had a lot of chips.
Right.
Now, right after the break, it was very great because we got in a 3-way pot all in, all 3 of us,
And really,
right after the break.
really did it. See, what's tough is if you're at that table and you really are only in for 1 bullet. If you show up and you don't have any other bullets, and you've got 3 guys who are just going all in, practically blind to try to build up their stacks.
I mean,
you're going to get the best of it when you get your chips in, but your chances of surviving that are very,
But
very low.
that's just part of the variance of the tournament.
That's incorrect. If you double up a few times and you got X amount of chips, you already got 3 or 4 times what the average chip count is. Not the 3 or 4 times average chip count of what we got, but what the tournament has. So you can still survive your blinds, change that strategy, and when the rebuys stop, the game actually changes some.
Yeah.
And depending on where your table breaks or you know, you still have a higher average chip count if you won 1 or 2 pots with no rebuys.
No, what I'm saying is that sometimes at these tournaments, and Daniel's a good example, in the rebuy period, they're just going in blind every hand, more or less. So at that point, if you're sitting right behind, you're just going to have to call all in, and you'll probably have a better hand. But at that point, you're not playing the game any longer. You're flipping to see who builds up a big stack, and then once the rebuy period ends, then you're playing.
And the actual, but the actual theory when we go to, like when I went to do it, wasn't even so much to build up a big stack. It was to have a lot of chips at our table.
Of course.
Whether I had them, he had them, whoever had them, you have a better chance of doing well if you have a lot of chips.
The disadvantage that maybe is subtle to some people is that if you're at a table with people who don't want to rebuy, just because you're rebuying over and over, you can't build up chips.
No, then there aren't a lot of chips. Yeah.
In other words, what you need is to be willing to rebuy and to have another guy, at least one other guy, who's also willing to rebuy a lot so that you can...
Right. And I had that, which was...
If you're at another table, you could be willing to rebuy. At the end of the rebuy period, you've barely built up your stack no matter what. And then all of a sudden you're at the table with Layne and Phil or whoever, and they've got 20 times as much. All right, we're having a great time with Layne Flack, but he cannot be contained on one tape. So we're going to bring him back for part 2 next week.
Multiple bracelet winner, multiple segment. That's my rule.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us on The Scoop, brought to you by Full Tilt Poker. Join us for our next episode as we continue with Layne Flack.
2 bracelets. Awesome.
Well, you know, these aren't easy to win. I remember this one like it was yesterday. My opponent had me down to my last. Sorry. Anyway, it's down to my last few chips. So I had to call.
We play at FullTailPoker.com.